The European Union stands at a pivotal moment in its history. The global order is becoming more volatile, fragmented and competitive, and Europe is no longer shielded from the consequences. Europe must redefine its geopolitical posture. Russia's ongoing aggression is not merely a regional crisis. It is a direct assault on international law, European values, and the very principles of our sovereignty and self-determination. The war has exposed the urgent need for a more capable and coordinated European defense. Ukraine is not just defending its own territory, it's defending the European idea. Europe must be able to protect its interests within and beyond its borders, wherever they are challenged. That requires credible, deployable military power. Europe is at a crossroads. The threats we face are real, complex and interconnected. Responding to them requires more than declarations. It requires political will, unity and the means to act. A strong Europe must be a secure Europe. Moreover, a secure Europe must take its defense and its global role seriously. We have a lot of gaps to fill, and it will take years if there is the necessary political will and the necessary incentive for the defense industry to fill these gaps. The European Union stands at a pivotal moment in its history. The global order is becoming more volatile, fragmented and competitive, and Europe is no longer shielded from the consequences, may they be risk or threats. From the brutal war in Ukraine to strategic disruptions in the northwestern Indian Ocean and the ongoing debate about our future direction as outlined in the White Paper for European Defence Readiness 2030. The message is clear. Europe must redefine its geopolitical posture. The best way we can ensure peace is to deter those who threaten us. Let me begin with Ukraine, the front line of European security. Russia's ongoing aggression is not merely a regional crisis. It is a direct assault on international law, European values, and the very principles of our sovereignty and self-determination. EU's response has been firm and comprehensive. Sanctions, humanitarian aid, political solidarity, and decisive military support. Because today military capability is not optional, it is essential. The war has exposed the urgent need for a more capable and coordinated European defense. Ukraine is not just defending its own territory, it's defending the European idea. Today, the chiefs of defense shape the next steps to support Ukraine. After today's update by the Coalition of the Willing, we will not only increase the delivery of ammunition, but enhance also the effort within the framework of EUMAM Ukraine, always scaled along the Ukraine needs. We are also witnessing threats beyond our eastern borders, particularly in the northwestern Indian Ocean. The Houthi attacks on commercial vessels threaten global trade and European economic stability. These are not isolated incidents. They are part of a broader pattern of instability that demands a clear response. The EU's maritime security operations, Atalanta and Aspides, are critical steps in ensuring the safety of international shipping lanes. This also reflects something more fundamental. Europe must be able to protect its interests within and beyond its borders, wherever they are challenged. That requires credible, deployable military power. Chiefs of Defence highlighted today the clear need for a better synchronization of the two naval operations Atalanta and Aspides to become even more successful. This brings us to the broader question, where is Europe headed to? The White Paper for European Defence Readiness 2030 lays out several scenarios for the Union's evolution. Whether we move towards deeper integration or selective cooperation, one thing is certain, Security and defense must be central in our agenda. Strategic autonomy does not mean going alone. It means having the capacity to act decisively when necessary. That includes investing in joint defense projects, enhancing interoperability among member states, and building a common strategic culture. Today, the chiefs of defense underline the need for that clear holistic approach. This incorporates, for instance, recommendations for the operationalization of Article 42.7 Treaty of European Union and related robust command and control structures, or enabling to provide military advice to all relevant and future bodies within the EU defense decision-making structure. With regard to capabilities, chiefs of defense underline that the European Union has to improve in quantity and quality, while the European Defence Agency has a vital role to develop the necessary capabilities fit for member states' military end users. In conclusion, Europe is at a crossroads. The threats we face are real, complex, and interconnected. Responding to them requires more than declarations. It requires political will, unity, and the means to act. A strong Europe must be a secure Europe. Moreover, a secure Europe must take its defense and its global role seriously. Thank you, and I am happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, General Brieger, for your detailed statement. We now open the floor for questions. Please state your name and media outlet. And due to the restricted time frame, we kindly ask you to stick only to one question per journalist, please. Okay, we start over here. Yeah.
Thank you very much. My name is Tatiana Vysotska. I'm representing Espresso TV Ukraine. And my question will be dedicated to Ukraine, of course. You mentioned the ammunition project, and I know that Kaja Kallas was participating in the meeting. And did you discuss what are you planning in this ammunition plan? And also, did you discuss this big Kallas plan to strengthen the military help to Ukraine and, for example, to provide to Ukraine the air defense equipment and so on and so on? So tell us bigger about your plans about on Ukraine.
We have been lucky to not only welcome Kaja Kallas, but also Andrius Kubilius, the new Commissioner for Defense and Space. And for sure the ammunition issue was to be discussed. The goal is to deliver 2 million rounds of heavy caliber ammunition to your country during the current year. So it's about doubling the amount of the last year, and we try to set incentives for member states to procure more, to produce even more, using the contracts laid out by the EDA, but also raising new initiatives, be it financial or be it via intensifies the cooperation with the Ukraine defense industry. So member states also have the possibility to invest in Ukraine defense factories in order to use your protection capabilities and to shorten the lines of delivery.
Okay, thank you. Please.
Thank you. Alice Tidy for Euronews. You mentioned that you discussed or you came up with recommendation for the operationalization of Article 42.7. Could you give us a bit more details on those recommendations and why the need to do that at this particular moment? Thank you.
The reason why we do that is that we found out that the concentration of European Union security and defense posture to international crisis management is not enough for the time being, and it's not fit for the future. So we need to clarify the role of European armed forces within the territorial defense of the continent. There is a clear need for close cooperation with NATO, and for sure collective defense will rest in the hands of the Atlantic Alliance, but we know that the US is shifting their interest to the Indo-Pacific, and there is the clear need to do more on European soil and by European member states. And therefore, we advise the politicians to think about a more concrete definition of Article 42.7. What is the concrete role? What could be the best delineation with the tasks of NATO? If I give you two examples, for instance, securing of military mobility on European soil for the swift transportation of large numbers of troops, or protection of critical infrastructure and similar issues. The advantage of the European Union institutions is for sure that the European Union is capable of acting in all fields of politics, economy, security and military. So we have more tools than NATO, and we try to find the best way to complement each other.
Hi, thank you for the floor. This is Fabio Napoli for the Italian news agency Policy Europe. I was wondering if the work on a possible EU mission to tackle the issue of the Russian shadow fleet is already undergoing, and how the format of this mission could be and how many member states would be ready to join. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. We haven't yet the political tasking for launching such a mission. We are aware of the discussions at the political level. If there is a respective tasker for the military committee and for the respective institutions, then it will be up to us to launch such a mission. In this case, it would be crucial to get the necessary resources. When I look at the existing maritime operations, and we have 3 of them, in the Northwest Indian Ocean, 2 and 1 in the Mediterranean, then we are, frankly spoken, lacking on resources. So when such a mission would be launched, it would be crucial that through a respective force sensing and diligent planning, we can secure in advance that we have enough ships, enough airplane, and enough resources to carry out such a mission, should it be credible.
Yeah, maybe one last question. Yes, please, the gentleman here in the front. Yes, sir.
Follow-up, we should.
Yeah, is it a follow-up? Okay, Roger.
Follow-up and one last, yes.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, just to understand better, how many resources you think would be needed for such kind of mission?
This depends on a deep military analysis, so I would not preempt any findings of such an expert analysis, but I think that a number of ships, just a rough guess, between 5 and 10 would make some difference without any preempting of the findings of a respective teams of experts tasked with the respective analysis.
Okay, yes.
Charles Cohen for Euractiv. You referred to quantity and quality when talking about capabilities. So I'd like to know, what is the first capability Europeans need to invest in for their armies not to rely on Americans? Thank you.
There are some European institutions identified a number of capability gaps we should fill urgently, amongst them artillery ammunition, anti-aircraft and anti-drone capabilities, military mobility, strategic reconnaissance, and some others. Broadly spoken, since we consumed the peace dividend during the decades after the Cold War, we have a lot of gaps to fill, and it will take years if there is the necessary political will and the necessary incentive for the defense industry to fill these gaps. But there are clear initiatives on the political level when you listen to the new elected German Chancellor and other decision makers to speed up in this direction.
Yes, sir. Maybe one really last question, if you agree.
But it's for the Austrian audience.
Yeah, please try in English if possible.
Try in English. Okay. Many military strategists who look at a conflict where the front line doesn't really move anymore would call this a frozen conflict. Do you think that this applies to Ukraine, besides all of the political negotiations that are going on from a military standpoint? Is it a frozen conflict?
It's a war of attrition. A frozen conflict I would see in, let's say, South and North Korea, where a front line was frozen in the 50s, and since then nothing essentially happened. But it is a real war of attrition where Ukraine needs our utmost support.